This week on the Blacktop Nomad, we're heading off to a scavenger hunt in the ice cream capital of the world, LeMars, Iowa. Home to the Wells Corporation, makers of Blue Bunny ice cream, LeMars is the single biggest producer of ice cream in the world. To celebrate this, local artists have created over 50 ice cream themed statues hidden all over the city. So our mission is to find them all. While we're there, I also personally want to find out why it's called Blue Bunny in the first place. Because what the heck do rabbits have to do with ice cream, let alone blue ones? I'm Bo, that's Kate, and this is the Sweet Tooth Scavenger Hunt. Now, since I'm positive we're going to do some ice cream sampling while we're up there, I went ahead and purchased this pint of Blue Bunny from our local supermarket. So I want to know if the ice cream that you and I can get from the store is better, equivalent, or worse than the ice cream we can get directly at the source. You know, for science. So for obvious reasons, I have selected the Blue Bunny Bunny Tracks frozen dairy dessert. That's weird. Why not just call it ice cream? Now my curiosity was piqued, so I had to Google it. The reason is shocking. And that's because Blue Bunny doesn't meet the legal requirements to be called ice cream. According to the FDA, for a product to legally be considered ice cream, it must meet certain requirements, including and not limited to milk fat content. And because Blue Bunny uses skim milk and whey powder in its manufacturing process, it doesn't meet the legal required thresholds to be called ice cream. Okay, that's a tad unsettling, but for science, I had to give it a taste. I don't know, tastes pretty ice creamy to me. With that test out of the way, we hopped in the car and got on our way to LeMars, pausing only to admire the world's largest popcorn ball. Based on our map, it looked like a lot of the statues were concentrated in this particular area. And since the Blue Bunny Visitor Center is right here, that seemed like a good place to kick things off. A quick browse through the history exhibits and I was able to check my first question off the list. In 1935, the Wells Company held a Name That Ice Cream contest. The winner, George Vandenbrink, submitted the name after watching his son admire the stuffed blue bunnies in a department store window one Easter. He was paid $25. That burning question answered, it was time for some savory scientific research. Now there were so many options to choose from here, but I elected to order the ice cream flight so I could test sample as many options as possible. Caitlin, however, went a bit more epic. In my test flight, I had pistachio almond, the bunny tracks from earlier, brownie chocolate, and huckleberry. And how did it all taste? Now maybe the freshness really did have something to do with it, or it was purely psychosomatic, but I really did think that the ice cream was superior here as compared to the store-bought quart I had tried the day before. Scientific experiment over, it was time to walk off all those ice cream calories and accomplish my real goal, finding all those 56 cone statues and a cow. So map in hand, I set off scouring the downtown, easily checking off the first few cones on my list. Then, there was a problem. At several of the sites I visited, there just wasn't a statue. And after looking high and low and coming up completely empty, I had to abandon the downtown and regroup with Kate at the hotel to come up with a new strategy. Since we only had the rest of the afternoon to accomplish the hunt, we opted to take the car, hoping this would help give us enough time to knock out the rest of the list and leave us with enough time afterward to investigate the problem of the missing sculptures. Again, this started off really well, and we were checking cones off our list at a really good pace. But then, we started to run into the exact same issues as I had before. Some of the locations, the sculptures just did not exist. And by now, I was starting to get both frustrated and worried. The day was very quickly slipping away, and if we didn't complete this task by dark, we wouldn't be able to complete it at all. So in a last-ditch effort, we went back uptown to the chamber office, which of course was closed, but we found what we were hoping to find, which was another map and a brochure with a third map. So we grabbed all of that and sat down on a bench hoping to find the answers we needed. This actually led to a lot more questions. Apparently the map that I had found originally ended up being from 2016. So not only were some of the sculptures no longer there, some of the businesses were long gone as well. But even after studying the other maps, which were super not helpful by the way, seriously, LeMars Chamber, who the heck doesn't even include a legend with their map? But all three maps had site markers that we had already concluded did not contain a sculpture on site. And an even deeper dive showed that even the newest map in our possession was already 3 years old. And at this point, it was anyone's guess as to how accurate any of these maps actually were. Not only that, we found a contradiction as the later map stated that there were not in fact 56 cones, but 55, a cow, and apparently now a dog. What the heck? So at this point our scavenger hunt was in shambles and the sun was starting to set, so in a last mad dash attempt I ran to as many sites as I could. I even found a stray cone that wasn't even on the map. But in the end, we just couldn't outrace the sun. So begrudgingly, we had to retire to the hotel and accept defeat. In the end, we found a total of 34 cones, the cow, and even the dog. As disappointing as this is, I'd like to think we would have succeeded if given more time and a proper map. So if you'd like to see us return here someday and attempt this hunt again in another episode, or if you know of another town with a fun challenge like this, let me know down in the comments below, and maybe we'll tackle it in a future episode. Also, if you happen to be a LeMars resident watching this and just know for a fact that we were blind in some of these sites where we couldn't find a cone, let me know where we missed it, or at least verify the fact that there isn't a cone to be found in that location so I know at least I'm not crazy. Thanks again to everyone who made it this far in the video, and make sure you're subscribed if you're not already to see more wacky adventures like this in the future.